Who the hell put walnuts in my daughter's dish? The words sliced through the warm Atlanta evening air like a blade through silk. Clara Johnson stands frozen at the head of her dining table, her weathered hands gripping the back of her chair so tight her knuckles have gone white against her dark skin. At 63, Clara carries herself like the soldier she once was. 23 years in the army, 2 tours in Iraq, and a chest full of medals that now gather dust in her bedroom drawer. Her gray hair is pulled back in a neat bun, and her brown eyes hold that special kind of sharpness that comes from surviving battles most people only see in movies. But this isn't Iraq. This is her own home in Southwest Atlanta, where the smell of her famous cornbread should be filling the air, where her family should be laughing around her grandmother's antique mahogany table. Instead, there's silence. Dead, suffocating silence. Maya, her baby girl at 21, sits statue still in her chair. Her beautiful brown face has gone pale, and she's staring down at the small white note in her trembling fingers. The note that simply reads, "Add walnuts." Maya's severe nut allergy isn't a secret in this family. It's been a constant shadow since she was 7 years old, when a single cashew sent her to the emergency room with her throat closing up. Everyone knows. Everyone has always known. Clara's military training kicks in immediately. Her eyes sweep the table like a sniper scanning for targets. Her oldest son Marcus sits across from Maya, his 8-year-old face creased with confusion. His wife Diana is beside him, her pale fingers wrapped around her wine glass, blue eyes darting anywhere but at Clara. "Maya, baby, you didn't eat anything yet, did you?" Clara's voice drops to that calm, deadly tone she used to use with new recruits who were about to make fatal mistakes. "No, Mama. I found this note right when I sat down." Maya's voice is barely a whisper. She holds up the piece of paper like it might bite her. "It was tucked under my plate." Clara's blood turns to ice water in her veins. Someone in her own family just tried to poison her daughter. Not accidentally, not carelessly, deliberately. The room feels smaller suddenly, like the walls are pressing in. The soft jazz music from the kitchen speakers sounds obscene now, too cheerful for what's happening. Clara reaches over and turns it off with a sharp click. "Everybody stay exactly where you are," she commands, her voice carrying that authority that once made grown soldiers snap to attention. "Nobody moves until we figure this out." Diana finally looks up, and Clara catches something flickering across her face. Just for a split second. Fear? Guilt? It's gone too fast to be sure, but Clara's spent too many years reading faces in war zones to miss it completely. "Clara, you're being dramatic," Diana says, her voice carrying that particular brand of condescension that makes Clara's jaw clench. Maybe it's just a mistake from the catering company. "What catering company?" Clara's voice could cut glass. "I cooked every single dish in this kitchen myself, Diana. Just like I have for every family dinner for the past 15 years. Marcus shifts uncomfortably in his seat. At 38, he's built like his father was, tall and broad-shouldered. But he's never had his mother's steel spine. "Mom, maybe someone was just making notes about what to add to the recipe for next time?" "Next time?" Clara rounds on her eldest son, and he actually flinches. "Your sister could have died, Marcus. 1 bite of walnuts, and we'd be calling 911 instead of having this conversation." The temperature in the room seems to drop 10 degrees. Maya starts crying quietly, those silent tears that break Clara's heart more than any screaming ever could. Diana sets her wine glass down with deliberate precision. "You're accusing someone at this table of trying to hurt Maya. That's insane, Clara." "Is it?" Clara moves closer to Diana, every instinct she's ever developed screaming danger. "Because someone who knows exactly how deadly nuts are to my daughter just left a note telling someone to add walnuts to her food." "This is ridiculous." Diana stands up abruptly, her chair scraping against the hardwood floor like nails on a chalkboard. "I don't have to sit here and be accused of attempted murder." "Nobody said anything about murder," Clara replies softly, but her voice carries the weight of absolute conviction. "Interesting that your mind went there first, though." Marcus jumps up too, positioning himself between his wife and his mother like a human shield. "That's enough. Mom, you're way out of line here." Clara stares at her son. This man she raised, this man she sacrificed everything for after his father died in that car accident 12 years ago. The same man who's now choosing his wife's comfort over his sister's safety. Am I, Marcus? Your sister almost got poisoned at my dinner table, and I'm out of line for asking questions. Nobody got poisoned. Marcus's voice cracks with frustration. You're paranoid, Mom. You've been looking for reasons to hate Diana since the day I married her. The words hit Clara like a physical blow. After everything she's survived, everything she's fought through, her own son thinks she's some bitter old woman making up threats. Maya's quiet crying turns into soft sobs. The sound cuts through Clara's heart like shrapnel. Diana, did you put that note there? Clara asks directly, her voice steady as bedrock. Of course not, Diana replies, but her eyes won't meet Clara's. This whole thing is crazy. Clara has interrogated enemy combatants who were more convincing. The silence stretches out like a held breath. Clara can hear the grandfather clock in the hallway ticking away the seconds, each one heavier than the last. Finally, Clara nods once, like she's making a decision that's going to change everything. Get out, she says quietly. What? Marcus blinks at her. Both of you, get out of my house. Mom, you can't be serious. I've fought wars overseas, Marcus. Clara's voice grows stronger with each word, and she stands taller, every inch the commanding officer she once was. But this is my battlefield now. The dishes on the table seem to rattle from the force of her conviction. Everyone stares at her like she's lost her mind completely. But Clara Johnson has never been more sure of anything in her life. Sometimes the enemy lives in your own house. 23 years ago, the desert heat in Iraq was merciless. Staff Sergeant Clara Johnson crouched behind a concrete barrier, her M4 rifle steady in her hands, watching the empty street ahead. Something wasn't right. The silence felt wrong, like a held breath before a scream. Her unit was getting restless. Sergeant, we've been here for 2 hours. Maybe we should move, whispered Private Martinez. Clara's instincts screamed danger. Years later, she'd tell people that feeling in your gut isn't paranoia. It's survival. Nobody moves, she commanded quietly. Something's coming. 30 seconds later, an IED exploded exactly where they would have been walking. Her sharp instincts saved 8 lives that day. 8 soldiers who went home to their families because Clara Johnson trusted what her gut was telling her. Now, standing in her Atlanta kitchen 3 days after the dinner disaster, that same instinct is screaming again. Clara stares out her window at the magnolia tree in her backyard, the one her late husband planted when Maya was born. The morning sun filters through the leaves, casting dancing shadows on her kitchen counter. Her phone buzzes. Another text from Marcus. Mom, Diana's really hurt. You embarrassed her in front of the whole family. This has gone too far. Clara deletes it without responding. She's gotten 12 messages like this since Sunday night. Every single one defending Diana. Not one asking if Maya is okay. The front door opens, and David walks in carrying a bag from their favorite bakery on Auburn Avenue. At 29, her middle son has his father's gentle eyes and Clara's steady presence. He's the one who calls every week, who remembers Maya's art shows, who never misses family dinner. Brought you some of those butter croissants you love, David says, setting the bag on the counter. He's still in his veterinary scrubs from the morning shift. Figured you might need some comfort food. Clara manages a smile. Army breakfast never tried to kill me. Family brunch? Different story. David's laugh is soft but worried. He pulls out a chair at her kitchen table, the same table where she used to help him with his homework while Marcus played video games in his room. Mom, I keep thinking about Sunday night. That note didn't just appear out of nowhere. No, it didn't. Clara joins him at the table, her hands wrapped around her coffee mug like it's an anchor. Your brother thinks I'm losing my mind. Marcus has always seen what he wants to see, David says carefully. even when we were kids. The memory hits Clara like a physical blow. Marcus at 12, screaming that she loved Maya more because she didn't make Maya do push-ups when she broke curfew. Clara trying to explain that Maya was 7 years old, that different ages meant different rules. But Marcus never understood. He saw only favoritism where Clara saw appropriate parenting. Diana's been feeding into that for years, David continues, his voice getting quieter. Remember last Christmas? She kept making those little comments about how Maya gets away with everything. Clara remembers. Diana's sharp smile when she said, "Must be nice to be the baby of the family. No expectations, no consequences." Maya had been showing everyone her latest painting, this beautiful landscape of Stone Mountain that took her 3 months to complete. Instead of celebrating her daughter's talent, Clara had to watch Diana slowly poison the moment with passive-aggressive comments. "She dismisses everything Maya does," Clara says, the words tasting bitter. Last month at Marcus's birthday, Maya was talking about her art school applications. Diana actually laughed and said, "Still playing with finger paints?" David's jaw tightens. As a veterinarian, he spends his days healing wounded animals, but there's no medicine for the kind of wounds Diana inflicts. The kitchen door swings open, and Maya walks in looking exhausted. She's been staying at Clara's house since Sunday, too shaken to go back to her apartment near Georgia State. "Mama, Marcus is outside," Maya says quietly. "He wants to talk." Clara's blood pressure spikes immediately. Through the kitchen window, she can see Marcus pacing on her front porch, his hands shoved deep in his pockets. Did he bring Diana? No, he's alone. David stands up. "Want me to stay?" Clara considers it. Part of her wants the backup, the witness. But this is between her and Marcus. Some battles you have to fight alone. "No, baby. Take Maya to get some ice cream or something. Let me handle your brother." After they leave, Clara opens the front door. Marcus looks older than his 38 years. Stress lines carved deep around his eyes. He's lost weight, and his usually neat appearance is disheveled. "Mom, we need to talk." "About what, Marcus? About how your wife tried to poison your sister, or about how you're too blind to see it?" Marcus flinches like she slapped him. "Diana didn't do anything wrong. You're so paranoid about her that you're making up conspiracies." "Conspiracies?" Clara's voice rises despite her efforts to stay calm. "Your sister could have died, Marcus. Died. And all you can think about is protecting Diana's feelings? Nobody was going to die. It was probably just a mistake, or maybe Maya put the note there herself for attention." The words hang in the air like poison gas. Clara stares at her eldest son, this man she raised, and barely recognizes him. "You think Maya would fake an attempt on her own life for attention?" Marcus shifts uncomfortably, but Diana's voice echoes in his words. "She's always been dramatic, and you've always enabled it. The same way I enabled you when you were struggling in high school? When you got arrested for shoplifting and I spent my savings on a lawyer? That kind of enabling? That was different." "How? How was that different, Marcus?" But Marcus can't answer, because deep down, he knows the truth. Diana has spent 5 years carefully planting seeds of resentment, watering them with whispered comments and manufactured slights. "Your mother never loved you like she loves Maya," Diana told him just last night, her head on his shoulder in their darkened bedroom. "Look how quickly she turned on us, after everything you've done for her." Now, standing on his mother's porch, Marcus feels that familiar ache of being the overlooked middle child, even though he's the oldest. That feeling Diana knows exactly how to trigger. "Diana loves me, Mom. She sees how you've always favored Maya and David." Clara's heart breaks a little more. "Oh, Marcus, you really believe that, don't you?" The war in Iraq taught Clara that sometimes the enemy wears a familiar face. Sometimes the person trying to destroy you smiles while they do it. Sometimes the person you trust most is the one holding the knife. 2 weeks after the confrontation on her porch, Clara hasn't heard from Marcus. Not a single call, text, or visit. It's the longest they've gone without speaking since he was born. But Diana? Diana has been busy. Clara discovers this when Maya comes home from her part-time job at the art supply store, tears streaming down her face. Her youngest daughter collapses into the kitchen chair, her whole body shaking. "Mama, Marcus came to my work today." Clara's blood turns cold. What did he say? He said, "I need to apologize to Diana for ruining Sunday dinner. That I'm tearing the family apart with my lies about the note." Maya's voice breaks completely. He said, "If I don't make things right, he's moving to Charlotte with Diana, away from all of us." The manipulation is so textbook, it's almost impressive. Isolate the target. Make them feel responsible for the consequences. Force them to choose between truth and family unity. Clara has seen this tactic used by enemy forces overseas. Divide and conquer. Turn allies against each other until everyone's fighting shadows instead of the real threat. "Baby, you're not apologizing for nearly getting poisoned," Clara says firmly. "And Marcus can move wherever he wants. That's his choice to make." But inside, Clara's heart is splintering. Diana is systematically cutting Marcus away from his family, and he's helping her do it. That night, Clara can't sleep. She walks through her house in the darkness, past family photos that used to bring her comfort. Marcus at his high school graduation, David's veterinary school ceremony, Maya's first art show. Now those memories feel tainted. How long has Diana been whispering poison in Marcus's ear? How many family moments were really opportunities for her to plant seeds of resentment? Clara stops in front of her home security monitor. She installed the cameras 2 years ago after a break-in down the street, but she's barely looked at them since. Now, she scrolls back through weeks of footage, searching for something, anything that might give her proof of Diana's true nature. Hours pass. Clara's eyes burn from staring at the screen, but she keeps searching, because somewhere in these recordings might be the evidence that saves her family. Finally, she finds it. It's from 3 months ago, during Maya's birthday party. Clara had stepped inside to get more ice, leaving Diana and Marcus alone on the back porch with Maya and David. On the grainy footage, Clara watches Diana lean close to Maya, speaking quietly while Marcus talks to David near the grill. Clara can't hear the words, but she can see Maya's face change, see her shoulders slump, see the joy drain out of her expression. Then Diana pats Maya's shoulder with fake sympathy and walks away, leaving Maya sitting alone, staring at the ground. Clara's hands clench into fists. This wasn't the first attack. It was just the most obvious one. The next evening, David comes for dinner. It's Thursday, their traditional family night, but the table feels too big with just the 3 of them. Maya barely touches her food, and David keeps glancing at Marcus's empty chair. "He's really not coming back, is he?" Maya asks quietly. Clara reaches across the table and takes her daughter's hand. "I don't know, baby. I really don't know." Diana's winning. Maya's voice is flat, defeated. She's taking Marcus away from us, and there's nothing we can do about it. David's fork clatters against his plate. "There's plenty we can do. I could drive over there right now and tell Marcus exactly what his wife is doing to this family." "And then what?" Clara keeps her voice level, but her military training is kicking in. "He's not going to believe us, David. Diana's had 5 years to build her case against me in his mind. So we just give up? Let her destroy everything?" Clara looks at her middle son, this good man who fixes broken animals for a living, who believes every problem has a solution if you just care enough. Wars aren't won with rash violence, baby. Patience wins battles. But even as she says it, Clara wonders if she's already lost this one. Later that night, after David and Maya have gone home, Clara sits in her living room with all the lights off. The house feels haunted by memories of better times. Her phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. "This is Diana. Marcus and I have decided we need space from your negativity. We're moving to Charlotte next month. Don't contact us." Clara stares at the message until the screen goes dark. Then she sets the phone aside and tries to breathe around the crushing weight in her chest. Through her living room window, She can see the lights still on at the Henderson house next door. Normal family sounds drift through the evening air. A child laughing. A television playing. The ordinary symphony of people who love each other without conditions or manipulation. Clara closes her eyes and remembers something her drill sergeant used to say during the worst days of basic training. Sometimes you lose the battle to win the war, Johnson. Sometimes you have to let the enemy think they've won so you can protect what really matters. What really matters is Maya's safety, David's happiness, the family she still has left. Marcus made his choice. He chose Diana's poisonous whispers over his mother's love, her manipulation over his family's truth. Clara can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved, but she can protect the children who still believe in her, who still need her strength. In the darkness of her living room, Clara Johnson makes the hardest decision of her life. She's going to let Diana win this battle, but the war is far from over. Because sometimes the most powerful move isn't fighting back. Sometimes the most powerful move is walking away. Before they destroy what's left of your soul. The grocery store parking lot on Peachtree Street is nearly empty at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday. Clara sits in her car, hands gripped tight on the steering wheel, watching Diana load bags into her white SUV. This wasn't planned. Clara came here for milk and bread, the ordinary supplies of ordinary life. But fate has a way of putting predators and prey in the same place at the same time. Diana hasn't seen her yet. She's moving slowly, deliberately, like she has all the time in the world, like someone who believes she's already won. Clara's phone buzzes with another text from Maya. "Mom," Marcus called again. He says if I don't apologize to Diana by Friday, he's cutting all contact with our family. The ultimatum breaks something inside Clara's chest. 5 years of watching Diana poison her son's mind. 5 years of biting her tongue, trying to keep the peace, hoping Marcus would see the truth. Enough. Clara gets out of her car and walks across the parking lot. Her footsteps echo off the asphalt, steady and purposeful. She learned long ago that predators can smell fear, but they respect strength. Diana. Diana turns, and for just a moment, her composed mask slips. She wasn't expecting this confrontation, wasn't prepared for it, but she recovers quickly, that cold smile sliding back into place. Clara, what a surprise. Is it? Clara stops about 6 feet away, close enough to see every micro-expression on Diana's face, because I don't believe in coincidences anymore. They stand in the cone of yellow light from the parking lot lamp, two women who've been circling each other like sharks for years. The air between them crackles with unspoken warfare. I don't know what you mean. Diana's voice carries that same innocent confusion she uses whenever Clara questions her motives. The note, Diana. The walnut note that would have killed my daughter. Diana's laugh is like broken glass. Are we still talking about that? Maya's fine. Nobody got hurt. Nobody got hurt because Maya found the note before she ate anything. But you knew that, didn't you? You knew she'd find it just in time to be terrified, but not quite in time to avoid the trauma. For a split second, something flickers in Diana's eyes. Surprise that Clara figured it out, maybe. Or admiration for the precision of her psychological warfare. You're paranoid, Clara. Marcus is right about that. Am I? Clara takes another step closer. Or am I finally seeing you clearly for the first time? Diana shifts her weight, and Clara notices she's positioned herself near her car door, ready to run if this escalates. But she's not running yet, which means she still thinks she can win this confrontation. Maya's been struggling lately, Diana says, her voice dripping false concern. All that stress from art school applications. Sometimes young people do desperate things for attention. The implication hits Clara like a physical blow. Diana isn't just trying to poison Maya's body. She's trying to poison everyone's perception of Maya's mental state. You're suggesting my daughter tried to hurt herself for attention? I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just saying that sometimes the people we love most are the ones hiding the deepest pain. Clara has heard interrogation techniques that were less manipulative than this conversation. Diana is a master at planting doubt, at making you question your own reality. But Clara Johnson survived 2 tours in Iraq by trusting her instincts, and every instinct she has is screaming danger. I know what you are, Clara says quietly. I've met people like you in war zones. You feed off chaos. You create problems, so you can be the solution. Diana's mask finally drops completely. The concerned daughter-in-law disappears, replaced by something cold and calculating. This isn't a war zone, Clara. This is family. And in families, the person everyone loves most usually wins. And you think that's you? Diana's smile is pure venom. I know it is. Marcus chose me. He chooses me every single day over his own mother. The words are designed to wound, and they do. But Clara has taken worse hits than this and kept standing. Because you've spent 5 years poisoning his mind against me. I didn't have to poison anything. You did that all by yourself, with your controlling military sergeant routine. Marcus has been waiting his whole life for permission to resent you. Clara feels something cold settle in her chest. Not anger, something deeper and more dangerous. I buried comrades younger than you, she says, her voice dropping to barely above a whisper. Do not test me. Diana actually laughs. Are you threatening me, Clara? Because that would be very interesting to share with Marcus. I'm not threatening you. I'm educating you. About what? About the difference between someone who's scared of you and someone who isn't. For the first time in this conversation, Diana looks uncertain. She's used to people being intimidated by her manipulation, confused by her psychological games. She's not used to someone looking at her like Clara is looking at her now. Like she's an enemy combatant who just revealed her position. This isn't the army, Clara, Diana says, but her voice has lost some of its confidence. This is family. And here, I win. Do you? The question hangs in the air like smoke from a battlefield. 2 women, 2 different kinds of strength, measuring each other in the yellow glow of a parking lot lamp. Then Clara hears footsteps behind her. Mom? What the hell are you doing? Marcus appears out of the darkness, shopping bag in hand, his face twisted with confusion and growing anger. Clara realizes he's been watching. But for how long? What did he hear? Marcus, thank God you're here. Diana's voice instantly transforms, becoming small and frightened. Your mother cornered me. She's been saying the most awful things. Clara watches the master manipulator at work, sees how quickly Diana shifts from predator to victim. It's like watching a magic trick in reverse, seeing exactly how the illusion is created. Is that true, Mom? Marcus demands. Are you harassing my wife in a parking lot now? Clara looks at her son, this man she raised, this man who just witnessed Diana's cold calculation, but will choose to believe her performance instead. The war is over. Diana won. The phone call comes at 3:47 p.m. on a Thursday. Clara is folding laundry in her bedroom when David's voice cuts through the afternoon quiet like a scream. Mom, you need to get to Grady Hospital right now. Maya's in the emergency room. Clara's hands go numb. The towel she was folding drops to the floor. What happened? Anaphylactic shock. Someone gave her a smoothie with nuts in it. The paramedics said she almost died. The world tilts sideways. Clara grabs her keys and runs. 23 minutes later, she's bursting through the emergency room doors at Grady Memorial. The smell hits her first, disinfectant and fear, and that particular hospital smell that means someone's life is hanging by a thread. David meets her at the front desk, still in his veterinary scrubs, his face gray with terror. She's stable now, but Mom, it was close. Really close. Clara's military training kicks in. Stay calm. Assess the situation. Act on facts, not emotions. But when she sees Maya through the window of room 314, all that training crumbles. Her baby girl looks so small in the hospital bed, oxygen mask covering half her face, IV lines snaking from her arms like mechanical veins. Her usually vibrant brown skin has a grayish pallor, and her breathing sounds labored even with the machine helping her. Who? Clara's voice comes out as a whisper. Who gave her the smoothie? David's jaw tightens. Diana. She brought it to Maya's work as a peace offering. Said she wanted to apologize for all the family tension. The rage that floods Clara's system is unlike anything she's ever felt. Not the clean anger of combat, not the righteous fury of protecting her unit. This is something primal and devastating, like a wildfire consuming everything in its path. Where is she? In the waiting room with Marcus. Mom, Marcus is a wreck. He's been crying since they got here, but he still won't admit what Diana did. Clara walks to the waiting room like she's walking to her own execution. Every step feels weighted with the gravity of what comes next. Marcus sits in a plastic chair, his head in his hands, shoulders shaking with silent sobs. Diana stands beside him, one hand on his back in a performance of comfort. When she sees Clara approaching, her face arranges itself into an expression of concerned sympathy. Clara, I'm so sorry. I had no idea Maya was allergic to almonds. The smoothie place must have mixed up the orders. The lie is so perfectly constructed, so rehearsed, that Clara almost admires the craftsmanship. Almost. Almonds? Clara's voice is deadly quiet. Maya's not allergic to almonds, Diana. She's allergic to tree nuts. All tree nuts, something you've known for 5 years. Marcus looks up, his face streaked with tears. Mom, it was an accident. Diana feels terrible about this. An accident. Clara repeats the words like they taste poisonous. Your sister is fighting for her life because of an accident. The smoothie place made a mistake, Diana insists, and Clara can see her calculating, measuring how much innocence she can project without seeming fake. I specifically asked for no nuts. Which smoothie place? Diana blinks. What? Which smoothie place, Diana? Because I'm going to call them right now and ask to see the security footage of you ordering. For just a moment, Diana's mask slips. Not enough for Marcus to notice, but Clara catches it. The flash of panic quickly covered. I don't remember the name. Someplace downtown. You don't remember the name of the place where you bought the drink that nearly killed my daughter? Clara, please. Marcus stands up, positioning himself between his mother and his wife again. Diana's upset too. This isn't helping anyone. Clara stares at her eldest son, this man who's choosing his wife's comfort over his sister's life, and something inside her breaks clean in half. Your sister almost died today, Marcus. Almost died. And you're worried about Diana's feelings? It was an accident, Mom. No. The word explodes out of Clara with the force of 23 years of military discipline finally snapping. It wasn't an accident. It was attempted murder. And you're too blinded by that woman's manipulation to see it. The waiting room goes silent. Other families turn to stare, but Clara doesn't care. Let them look. Let them witness what happens when a mother reaches her breaking point. I will not bury my daughter because of your lies, Clara says, each word precise as a rifle shot. I will not stand by and watch you enable someone who's trying to kill my child. Diana's eyes fill with crocodile tears. How can you say that? I love Maya like she's my own sister. If you loved her, she wouldn't be in that hospital bed fighting to breathe. Marcus moves closer to Diana, and Clara sees it happen in real time. Her son choosing his wife's version of reality over the truth that's staring him in the face. Mom, you're out of control. You're so obsessed with hating Diana that you're making up conspiracies. David appears at Clara's elbow, and she can feel the anger radiating off him like heat from a furnace. Conspiracies? David's voice shakes with barely controlled rage. Marcus, our sister almost died today. Almost died. And all you can think about is protecting the person who gave her the drink? It was an accident. Then why won't Diana tell us which smoothie place she went to? David demands. Why can't she remember the name? Marcus looks between his brother and his wife, and Clara watches him make his choice. The wrong choice. The only choice Diana's 5 years of manipulation have left him capable of making. You're both being ridiculous. Diana doesn't have to prove anything to you. That's when Clara knows she's lost him completely. Lost the son she raised, the boy she sacrificed everything for, the man she hoped would choose family over manipulation. But she hasn't lost everyone. David steps closer to Clara, and she can feel his support like armor around her shoulders. If Marcus wants to choose his wife over his family, that's his decision, David says quietly. But I won't watch Diana try to kill Maya again. Clara looks through the waiting room window toward Maya's room, where her youngest daughter lies connected to machines that are keeping her alive. The war isn't over. It's just beginning. Maya comes home from the hospital on a Saturday morning, still weak, but alive. Clara helps her daughter settle into bed, fluffing pillows and adjusting blankets with the precision of a field medic. But once Maya falls asleep, Clara transforms. The grieving mother disappears, replaced by Staff Sergeant Johnson. The woman who once coordinated supply runs through hostile territory, who planned tactical operations that saved lives under enemy fire. Clara spreads everything across her dining room table like it's a war room. Photos, timeline notes, phone records, security footage from her home cameras, everything organized with military precision. David walks into what looks like a detective's investigation board and stops dead in his tracks. Mom, what is all this? This is how we protect Maya. Clara points to a timeline she's drawn on poster board. Diana's been escalating for months. The birthday party comments, the isolation tactics, the note at dinner. This wasn't random violence. This was a campaign. David studies the timeline, and Clara watches understanding dawn in his eyes. You're building a case. I'm building a war plan. For the next 3 days, Clara operates like she's back in uniform. She creates detailed profiles of everyone involved, maps out Diana's behavioral patterns, identifies weaknesses in her story about the smoothie. The problem is the technology. Clara can field strip an M4 rifle in under 10 seconds, but recording apps on her phone might as well be rocket science. Okay, so I press this red button to start recording? Clara squints at her smartphone screen. David tries not to laugh. Yes, Mom. The big red circle that says record. And it'll pick up voices from across a room? It should, but you need to get close enough. Maybe hide the phone in your purse. Clara practices for an hour, recording test conversations with David. Half the recordings are of the ceiling fan. The other half sound like they were made underwater. You can dismantle a rifle in 10 seconds but can't record a voice memo? David teases. Rifles don't require software updates, Clara mutters, but she's smiling despite herself. They work together through the afternoon, David showing her how to position the phone, how to check the audio levels. It's been years since they've spent this much uninterrupted time together, and Clara realizes how much she's missed just being with her son. Remember when you were 12 and wanted to join the army like me? Clara asks during a break. Until I realized I'd rather heal animals than fight wars, David replies. But watching you now, I think maybe I got some of that strategic thinking after all. Clara reaches over and squeezes his hand. Your father would be proud of the man you became. He'd be proud of you too, Mom, fighting for Maya like this. The moment is interrupted by Clara's phone buzzing. Text from Marcus. Diana wants to visit Maya. She feels terrible about what happened. Clara shows David the message. They look at each other with the same thought. Opportunity, David says quietly. Exactly. Clara texts back. Tomorrow at 2 p.m., just Diana. You stay home. That evening, Clara calls her old army buddy, Sergeant Major Patricia Williams, now retired and living in Savannah. Pat, I need a favor. You remember that handwriting analysis training we did at Fort Benning? 20 years ago? Clara, what are you up to? Clara explains the situation, and Patricia's voice grows hard. Send me photos of the note and any other samples of this woman's handwriting you can find. I'll run them through my network. You still have a network? Honey, once Army intelligence, always Army intelligence. We take care of our own. By Wednesday morning, Clara has assembled what she calls her Task Force Maya. Patricia coordinating handwriting analysis from Savannah. David handling medical documentation from Maya's hospital visit. Clara herself working surveillance and evidence gathering. It feels good to have a mission again, to have purpose beyond just surviving each day. The breakthrough comes when Clara parks outside Marcus and Diana's apartment complex on Thursday afternoon. She's not proud of following Diana, but desperate times call for desperate measures. Diana meets her friend Jennifer at a coffee shop on Piedmont Road. Clara positions herself 3 tables away with her newspaper and her carefully hidden phone. For 40 minutes, she listens to Diana complain about Marcus's family, about how dramatic everyone's being over Maya's little incident. Then Jennifer asks the question Clara's been praying for. "But Diana, didn't you know Maya was allergic to nuts? I thought everyone in Marcus's family knew that." Clara holds her breath. The recording app is running. This is the moment. Diana's laugh is sharp and bitter. "Of course I knew. I've known for 5 years. But Maya needed to learn that actions have consequences." "What do you mean?" "She's been trying to turn Marcus against me since the day we met. Little Princess Maya with her art and her dreams, making me look like the evil stepmother. Well, now she knows what happens when you mess with someone who's smarter than you." Clara's hands tremble as she maintains the recording. Diana just confessed. Actually confessed to deliberately poisoning Maya. "Diana, that's..." Jennifer sounds shocked. "That's really messed up." "It's justice. And if Marcus's psycho mother keeps pushing, Maya might have another little accident. Maybe next time she won't be so lucky." Clara stops the recording with shaking fingers. She has what she needs now. Diana's own words, her own admission of guilt and threat of future violence. Walking back to her car, Clara feels something she hasn't felt in months. Hope. Not just for justice, but for the end of this war. For the moment when she can finally protect her family completely. The evidence is gathered. The strategy is mapped. The allies are in position. Tomorrow, Clara Johnson goes on the offensive. And this time, she's fighting for keeps. Clara sets the family dinner for 7 p.m. sharp on Friday evening. She uses her mother's best china, the set that survived 3 moves and 2 decades of family celebrations. Tonight feels like a funeral. Maya sits beside Clara, still pale from her hospital stay, but determined to be here. David is across from them, his jaw set with quiet resolve. Marcus and Diana arrive 15 minutes late, whispering together as they walk through the front door. "Thank you both for coming," Clara says as they take their seats. Her voice carries the calm authority of a commanding officer addressing her troops. Diana smiles that practice smile, the one that never reaches her eyes. "Of course, Clara. Family is everything." Clara almost laughs at the irony. The small talk lasts exactly 12 minutes. Clara times it, watching the seconds tick by on the grandfather clock in the hallway. Then she stands, moving to the sideboard where she's arranged her evidence like a military briefing. "Before we eat, I have something to share with everyone." She picks up the first item. The note from Maya's dinner plate, now sealed in a clear plastic bag. This note was found beside Maya's dish 3 weeks ago. The handwriting analysis came back yesterday. Clara sets down the report from Patricia's contact at the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. The handwriting matches samples taken from Diana's grocery lists, her birthday cards, and her thank you notes. Diana's fork clatters against her plate. "That's ridiculous. Anyone could have written that." "Could they?" Clara moves to the next piece of evidence. Photos from her security cameras, enlarged and annotated. These show Diana approaching Maya's seat twice during the birthday party setup. No one else went near that spot. Marcus shifts uncomfortably. "Mom, what is this?" "This is the truth, Marcus. The truth you've refused to see for 5 years." Clara picks up her phone, the recording app ready. But the most important evidence came from Diana herself. She presses play. Diana's voice fills the dining room, clear and unmistakable. "Of course I knew. I've known for 5 years. But Maya needed to learn that actions have consequences. The silence that follows is deafening. Maya's hand finds Clara's under the table, trembling. Jennifer's voice continues from the recording. Diana, that's really messed up. Then Diana again. It's justice. And if Marcus's psycho mother keeps pushing, Maya might have another little accident. Maybe next time she won't be so lucky. Clara stops the recording and sets the phone down with deliberate precision. The room feels like a tomb. Marcus stares at his wife like he's seeing her for the first time. Diana? For a moment, Diana tries to maintain her innocence. That's not. I didn't mean. But something in the silence, something in the weight of the evidence, finally breaks her. The mask comes off completely. Fine, Diana explodes, her voice cracking with 5 years of suppressed rage. Yes, I did it. Yes, I wanted her gone. Maya gasps, shrinking back in her chair. David reaches across the table toward his sister. Because every single time she walks into a room, Diana continues, her face twisted with fury. I'm reminded that I'll never be the favorite. Perfect little Maya, with her art, and her dreams, and her special place in everyone's heart. Clara watches her son's face, waiting for the moment Marcus finally sees what Diana really is. But that moment never comes. Instead, Marcus turns to Clara with anger blazing in his eyes. Are you happy now, Mom? You got your confession. You proved you were right. Marcus, Clara says quietly, your wife just admitted to trying to kill your sister. And you drove her to it. Marcus slams his hand on the table, making the china rattle. You raised us like soldiers, not sons. You controlled every aspect of our lives with your military discipline and your impossible standards. The words hit Clara like bullets. After everything, after all the evidence, Marcus is still defending Diana. Don't blame Diana for hating you, Marcus continues. Don't blame her for fighting back against a woman who made our childhood feel like basic training. Clara looks at her eldest son, this man she sacrificed everything for, and sees a stranger, someone so poisoned by resentment and manipulation that he can justify attempted murder. Maya starts crying quietly. David's face has gone white with shock and fury. Marcus, David says, his voice shaking, she tried to kill Maya, our sister. She could have died. It was just nuts in a smoothie. Maya's fine. She almost died, David shouts. She was in the hospital fighting to breathe. Because Mom turned everyone against Diana from day one, Marcus shouts back. Because she never gave my wife a chance. Clara stands slowly, feeling every one of her 63 years, the weight of 2 wars, of raising 3 children alone, of watching her family tear itself apart. You're right about one thing, Marcus, she says, her voice steady as steel. I did raise you with discipline. I raised you to be strong, to protect the people you love, to stand up for what's right. She looks around the table at her broken family. I raised you to be better than this. Marcus's face hardens. Well, maybe you failed. The words hang in the air like smoke from a battlefield. Clara nods once, like she's making a final decision. Then I choose peace, she says quietly. And peace means leaving you behind. She turns to Maya and David. Pack whatever you want to take. We're done here. Mom, you can't be serious. Marcus stands up, suddenly realizing what he's about to lose. But Clara is already moving, already in command mode. David, help your sister. Maya, get your medications and your art supplies. Mom, wait, Marcus calls after her, panic creeping into his voice. Clara stops at the dining room doorway and looks back at her eldest son one last time. I love you, Marcus. I will always love you, but I will not sacrifice Maya's life for your comfort. She walks out of the room, leaving behind the family she built and fought for. Sometimes love means knowing when to walk away, even when it breaks your heart. 1 year later, the morning sun streams through the windows of the West Side Cultural Arts Center in Atlanta. Maya stands before her first solo art exhibition, adjusting the placement of her latest painting for the third time. "Baby, it's perfect exactly where it is," Clara says, watching her daughter with pride that fills every corner of her chest. The painting is called Rising from Ashes. It shows a phoenix emerging from flames, but the bird has the face of a young black woman with eyes full of determination and hope. Clara has been to war zones that felt less emotional than this moment. People begin filtering into the gallery at 11 a.m. sharp. Art collectors, fellow students from Georgia State, professors who've watched Maya bloom from a timid girl into a confident artist. David arrives early, bringing flowers, and the kind of unwavering support that's become the backbone of their smaller, stronger family. "Look at this crowd," David whispers to Clara as more people arrive. "Maya's going to be famous someday." "She's already famous to me," Clara replies, but her smile could power the entire city of Atlanta. At 2 p.m., a reporter from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution interviews Maya about her work. Clara stands just out of frame, watching her youngest daughter speak with passion about art as healing, about finding strength after trauma, about painting your way through the darkness. "My mother taught me that survival isn't just about making it through the battle," Maya tells the reporter. "It's about choosing who you want to be afterward." Clara has to step outside for a moment to compose herself. On the sidewalk, she pulls out her phone to read the message that arrived this morning. It's from her old army buddy, Patricia Williams, but she's forwarding a letter from someone else. Sergeant Major Rodriguez, Clara's former commanding officer, now retired in Arizona. "Clara, Patricia told me what you've been through this past year. I want you to know something that I learned the hard way during my 30 years in the service. Sometimes the hardest battles aren't the ones where you charge forward. Sometimes the hardest battles are the ones where you have to retreat to protect what matters most. Enduring loss to protect those you love, that is true victory. Your daughter is alive because you had the courage to make impossible choices. That's not failure, Clara. That's command at its finest." Clara reads the letter twice, then folds her phone and wipes her eyes before going back inside. The afternoon passes in a blur of congratulations and conversations about Maya's work. 3 paintings sell within the first hour. A gallery owner from Buckhead expresses interest in representing Maya long-term. Clara watches it all unfold, with the satisfaction of a mission successfully completed. At 4:30 p.m., she spots a familiar figure through the gallery window. Marcus stands across the street, hands in his pockets, staring at the exhibition banner with Maya's name in bold letters. He's lost weight over the past year, and there's something defeated in the set of his shoulders. Clara walks outside, not to confront him, but because she needs air. They see each other across 2 lanes of traffic and a universe of broken trust. Marcus raises his hand slightly, not quite a wave, more like an acknowledgement of everything they've lost. Clara doesn't wave back, but she doesn't look away either. Diana appears beside Marcus, sliding her arm through his possessively. Even from this distance, Clara can see the tension in her son's face, the way he glances toward the gallery, like a man looking at a life he can no longer access. Clara feels no anger toward Diana anymore, no hatred or desire for revenge. Diana won Marcus, but she also trapped herself with him in a prison of manipulation and resentment. She'll spend her life fighting imaginary enemies, seeing threats where there are none, poisoning every relationship she touches. That's punishment enough. Marcus and Diana walk away, disappearing into the Atlanta afternoon. Clara watches them go with something that feels surprisingly like peace. Inside the gallery, Maya is talking to a group of art students, her face animated with excitement. David stands nearby, ready to jump in if his sister needs support, but smart enough to let her shine on her own. This is Clara's family now. Smaller perhaps, but unbreakable. As the exhibition winds down, Clara and Maya stand together in front of the Rising from Ashes painting. The late afternoon light makes the phoenix's wings seem to shimmer with real fire. "Mama, do you think I did the right thing? With the art? With everything?" Clara turns to look at her youngest daughter, this brave young woman who survived attempted murder and turned her trauma into something beautiful. Maya, let me tell you something I learned in the army. Out there, the world is going to test you. People are going to try to break you down, make you smaller, convince you that you don't deserve to take up space. Clara puts her hands on Maya's shoulders, the same way she used to when Maya was small and needed reassurance before school. But you remember this moment. Remember how it feels to see your art on these walls, to know that you survived something terrible and made something beautiful from it. Remember that you're my daughter. Maya's eyes fill with tears, but they're good tears, healing tears. And we don't break, Clara continues, her voice strong with conviction. We bend sometimes, we get knocked down, but we don't break. Clara straightens Maya's shoulders, adjusting her posture like a drill sergeant preparing a soldier for inspection. We rise. Maya nods, standing taller, and Clara sees not just her youngest daughter but a warrior in training, someone who knows now that she can survive anything because she's already survived the worst thing imaginable. As they walk out of the gallery together, Clara's phone buzzes with a text from David. Dinner at my place? I'm making your favorite cornbread. Clara shows the message to Maya, who grins. Race you to the car, Maya says, already running. Clara laughs and follows, feeling lighter than she has in years. Behind them, the gallery lights dim on Maya's first solo exhibition. Ahead of them, the future spreads out like a road they'll travel together. This is what victory looks like.